platform where thought leadership meets transformative journeys. I'm Arunima KV, Assistant Professor in the area of HR, OB, and Communications, and also the Chairperson of Alumni Relations Committee at TAPMI. Over the years, the TAPMI Leadership Lecture Series has hosted several eminent personalities who have shared powerful insights from their journeys in leadership, resilience, and public life. And today marks a milestone moment, as for the first time, we welcome a TAPMI alumnus as a speaker for this prestigious series. We are excited to hear from someone who once walked the TAPMI corridors as our current students and went on to scale global leadership thoughts. We are privileged to host Mr. Nikhil Sharma, Managing Director of Perfetti Van Melle, India, and a distinguished member of TAPMI's batch of 1997-99. His story is one of inspiration, global experience, and true leadership in action, the theme of today's leadership talk. As we set the tone for this evening, I warmly invite our dignitaries to join us on the stage. Mr. Nikhil Sharma, our chief guest and speaker for the day, Professor Gururaj Kidiyur, Dean Academics, and Professor Durga Prasad, Dean Administration. Please. Thank you, dignitaries. Manipal Academy of Higher Education, MAHE, has declared 2025 as the Year of Excellence in Industry Academia Collaborations, celebrating meaningful partnerships between institutions and the corporate world. Today's session aligns beautifully with the spirit. The theme, Leadership in Action, is a perfect reflection of how academic spaces can benefit from real-world leadership experiences. I request all the esteemed dignitaries to kindly join together in lighting the lab, marking the formal inauguration of the 30th TAPMI Leadership Lecture. We would be also glad to invite Mr. Karan and Ms. Pragati, TAPMI alumni, and also from the Perfetti Van Melle family to join this auspicious moment. The lighting of the lamp is a symbol of dispelling darkness and welcoming the light of knowledge and inspiration. Thank you, dignitaries. Thank you, Karan and Pragati. I now invite Dr. Durga Prasad, Professor of Finance and Dean Administration at TAPMI, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Okay. It's my pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to each one of you to the 30th Leadership Lecture organized by A Pai Management Institute, Manipal, a constant unit of Manipal Academy of Higher Education, MAHE. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this Leadership Lecture Series. I'll just give you a brief background about this Leadership Lecture Series. TAPMI was founded in the early 1980s by the visionary leader, Padma Bhushan awardee, Sri Tonse Anantpai. TAPMI celebrated 25 years of its existence in 2009. To commemorate this milestone, the TAPMI Leadership Lecture Series was launched, providing a platform for thought leaders from various sectors of society to share their insights, experiences, and vision with the students of TAPMI and other constant units of MAHE Manipal. This lecture series aims to inspire the youth to take on leadership roles in their journey towards building a stronger nation. And one other important point here is this year, particularly 2025, MAHE has declared 2025 as the year of excellence in industry-academia collaborations. And this leadership lecture is a fitting tribute to that theme. So far, we have had 29 thought-provoking leadership lectures covering a wide range of topics. Let me mention just a few of the esteemed speakers who have had the privilege to host. We have had the privilege to host Dr. S. Jaishankar. The topic was India in the Amrit Kal. Mr. Swarup Kumar Saha, Leadership Practices and Lessons from Life. Dr. Satyapal Singh, leaders are created by virtue of hard work, commitment, and dedication. Sri Varun Gandhi, the need for political reform. Sri Nitin Gadkari, education for development. Sri Mohandas Pai TV, disrupting global businesses. Dr. Y.V. Reddy, Indian economy, retrospect and prospect. Sri Ratan Tata, doing businesses with values. Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, does India need good politicians or good political parties? As we reflect on these enlightening sessions that have shaped perspective over the years, we now turn the page to yet another remarkable chapter in this legacy. It is with great pride and excitement that I invite you to join me in welcoming today's distinguished speaker. We are honored to have with us Mr. Nikhil Sharma, batch of 97 to 99, Managing Director, Perfetti Van Melle, India, who has graciously accepted our invitation to deliver this 30th Leadership Lecture. A proud alumnus of TAPMI, Mr. Nikhil, we are delighted to have you with us. Welcome to this Leadership Lecture. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and gracious presence. And it's also my pleasure to welcome Mr. Karan and Mr. Pragati Nagpal, proud alumni of TAPMI, and the team members at Perfetti Van Melle, India Limited. And also, I take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Vishal, Ms. Shreya, and Ms. Nana from Perfetti Van Melle Limited. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to our invited guests, university officials, deans, faculty members, staff, students from TAPMI and other constituents of MAHE, and members of press and media. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in welcoming Mr. Nikhil Sharma with a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Durga Prasad, for communicating the idea, objective, and value of Leadership Lecture Series, and also for that warm and thoughtful welcome note. May I now invite Dr. Gururaj Kidiyur, Professor of Marketing and Dean Academics at TAPMI, to introduce our esteemed speaker, Mr. Nikhil Sharma.
Esteemed Chief Guest for the evening, Shri Nikhil Sharma, Durga Prasad, the Perfetti team, invited guests, my colleagues from TAPMI, and dear students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you all. It is my proud privilege to introduce today's chief guest. Nikhil Sharma started his journey in 1999 as a management trainee with Perfetti Van Melle, India. Over the last 25 years, he has assumed diverse roles in sales and marketing and has done managing director stints abroad before recently taking over as the managing director for the $350 million business back in India. After doing a 3-year stint in sales at the start of his career, he moved to the marketing function. From 2002, his time in marketing overlapped with the clutter-breaking advertising that made PVM brands a household name in India. He has contributed immensely to the success of homegrown brands like Just, Jelly, Cream Fills, and Alpenlibe Eclairs. In 2012, Nikhil was elevated to the position of marketing director at Perfetti Van Melle, India. In 2015, he embarked on a journey in Southeast Asian markets after being appointed as MD for PVM Philippines. Nikhil is credited with the turnaround of PVM Philippines, and the business has since grown from strength to strength. In 2018, he moved to Vietnam as the managing director and achieved growth even during the COVID-19 impacted years. He believes that ensuring continued uninterrupted factory operations despite the lockdown was a significant win. Back in India, he is working towards bringing key transformations with special focus on DEI, sustainability, and business agility. An engineer by graduation, Nikhil has done his MBA from TAPMI, Manipal. He is a graduate of the 1997-99 batch, as mentioned by my colleague Professor Durga Prasad already. He is an avid runner, a fitness enthusiast, and a big advocate of people devoting time for self-improvement and to their families. Nikhil loves to spend as much of his free time reading and playing with his rescued and rehomed dogs. It is an absolute pleasure to have Nikhil here among us, and all of us are extremely eager to listen to him, especially our students, for whom alums like Nikhil should be role models. One of the elements in our mission statement is that we benchmark ourselves against the best, and there cannot be a better best than Nikhil. Without any further delay, I now make the stage open to Nikhil Sharma. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, am I audible at the back? Yes, no, maybe? Perfect. If I didn't feel the pressure earlier, I certainly feel the pressure after that introduction. So thank you so much, Professor Kadir. Thank you so much, Professor Durga Prasad, members of the faculty. Thank you so much for having me to the batch of 2026. You have my apologies. You had the patience to listen to me once and you didn't expect to hear me again. But here I am. It's just one of those things which, I was telling Pragati and Karan that we initially thought we'd come to campus for summers. And my thinking was that, I would do a marketing session for second-year students. How we have gotten to this point is also beyond me, but I'm thrilled to be here. There's been a lot of illustrious speakers before me. I don't carry that heft, certainly not Dr. Jayashankar, or Dr. Sitaraman before me, but I'm nevertheless delighted to be here as the first alumni, and I hope the first of many who will come after me. This is really, really a proud moment for me, and I'm thrilled to be here. Before I go and dive into the series Leadership in Action, a little bit about myself. I'm from the Air Force School, Subrata Park. You have people here from Delhi? A few of you from Delhi, yeah. So this is a school which is near Dholakwa. I graduated in the year 1993. I know some of you are murmuring under your breath, you weren't born there. We've heard it before, but okay. I graduated in 1993, and when I came back to India, they called me and they said, we've put up, one of your pictures is on the alumni wall of distinguished alumni. So I was very, very happy about it, till I actually went to school, and this is me on the wall. That's Dr. Jaishankar. Yeah. So I thought my proximity to him ended here, but I'm very happy to be here and know that he was a previous speaker. And in a lighter vein, the guy next to me is Nikesh Arora. He is the chairman of Palo Alto Networks, one of the richest or the highest paid execs in the US. His net worth, incidentally, is $1 billion. Mine is, if we were to subtract mine from his, we would still get $1 billion. So, yeah, see that much. This is the difference. One space makes on a wall. Just one more space, and we would have been, not having this conversation. But nevertheless, before I go any further, I would also like to just make a mention of colleagues of mine who are here. Yeah, we have Vishal, who's the sales head for Karnataka, and yeah, thank you for making the time. We have the very dashing Mr. Budhiraja, who's there you go, please. Batch of 2012. He is an alumni. He now handles Chupa portfolio. Nyana, she's head of HR for the South branch. Yeah. Pragati, batch of 21. She was here last year, and some of you will get to meet her tomorrow. And finally, we have a management trainee from last year who's from XIMB, but Shreya, he handles the Bangalore area. So we also incidentally have one of the alumni, or one of your batchmates, and the other one couldn't make it, who can stand up and do a little twirl. Mr. Anirudh, I don't know where he is. There you go. Twirl, yeah. Yeah, both of them did a fabulous job at Perfetti, and we're delighted to be welcoming them as management trainees of the batch of 2026. As we colloquially say in India, he is on loan to you guys. Ab ye ladka hamara ho gaya, so isko please, you can hand him over next year. Okay. Before I go any further and we talk about the various things and leadership in my journey, I would like to leave you with, or like to start with one thought, and if this is the only thing you take with you, I think it would have served a good purpose for us, right? And this is, let me play an ad for you, and then we'll talk about it. Huh?
इसलिए मैं ये चम्मच लेकर आया हूँ माँ। मुझे भी पता था माँ जी, इसीलिए हम भी चम्मच लेकर आए।
पेश है मेंटोस का नया रेनबो पैक। अब इनकी तरह सबको पता चलेगा कि आगे कौन सा रंग आएगा।
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you like the ad. It's a funny commercial, but it's meant to drive a very serious point. Our world is not like this anymore, right? We're rapidly changing. I wish we knew what would come next, right? Every day we get up and we see that there's a rapidly evolving scenario, and you, this batch as it graduates, will possibly face really challenging times, right? keep your head up, know that you've got all the right training, know that you've got what it takes. And most importantly, remember your professors are here, as alumni we are here, and we are all rooting for you. Yeah? We are rooting for you because we know that you will deliver what you set out for yourself. Just keep the trust, keep the faith, and hang in there when the situation is tough. This is my, let's say, the guts of the discussion today. So we will revisit the orientation, and I put that slide there simply because there are some aspects to this deck on leadership which are relevant from the previous one. As usual, I will warn you of some of the things that you should and shouldn't take away from my speech, and then we will dive into 5 or 6 points which are relevant, at least from my perspective on leadership. This is what we had discussed for those of you who remember, and I don't expect any of you do, but nevertheless, some of the things which specifically for leadership in action, which is all the kind of leaders that you will become when you graduate and go into the workforce. Yeah? I cannot emphasize the importance enough of owning your failure. Don't hide behind it. Always raise your hand and say you got it wrong. There's no shame in that, right? And secondly, when you go into your job, always approach it from a sense of ownership, right? Remember, the guiding talisman is, if this was your own organization, what is the kind of decision making that you would have done, right? I know many of you are thinking that as you start your careers, this is a question which will not happen and not occur to you, but you couldn't be more wrong, right? You can start asking this question even now. As you work in your B school, you can ask it of TAPMI, and when you graduate and when you go to your organizations, you can ask it of yourself, right? Now, I will get into my caveats and requests. For the first one, let me play another commercial.
Play. Check.
ये तो समझ के बाहर है, जैसे चुपा चुप्स, स्वीट है या सार है, चुपा चुप्स, फन फना फन फन.
Yeah. So Karan is the one who's made this ad, and it basically says that there's more than one way to skin a cat. So yeah, I mean, the stuff I'm going to say is not is not exhaustive. There are many other ways or many other, let's say, reams of leadership. We are talking about few specific ones which are relevant for me. Yeah, these are my thoughts. Again, please feel free to question them, be discerning, make up your own mind. Yeah, and when I go through these points, please also note that, I don't always in all situations follow this. I try to, but many often, I don't manage to, get this done this way. But at least I've seen, I stand on the shoulders of giants who come before me with Perfetti. And I've seen leadership in action, and I've seen it from the very best. So believe me when I speak from some authority that this is the way, the best get it done, right? Okay, the first one. This is very, very, let's say this is the toughest one to handle for me, and therefore it's right up front. And this is tough because it's difficult to explain this specific one, because leadership assignments and your want for leadership is often at cross purposes. Yeah? Very often when we go into organizations and when you head into your first jobs, you are looking to leadership for having a team. You're looking to leadership for financial gain. You're looking to leadership roles for growing up in the organization. The organization, on the other hand, is looking at leaders to get them out of tough situations. They are looking at people to raise their hand when nobody else is raising their hand, right? And therein lies a conflict, because you both they want to give you the leadership position and you want the leadership position, but for two very different reasons, right? So my recommendation and advice is that when there is an opportunity in a tough situation to contribute, please do not shy away. Yeah? Please do not think in terms of how it's going to benefit your specific area of work. Yeah? Just go ahead and do it. When there's an opportunity to take part in a team which is not relevant to you but is working in an adjacent area, always raise your hand. That's really when organizations make notice of people who they want to back in the long run. Right? If you are very task focused and if you have one of those mentalities which says, I will only do what I'm asked to do, yeah? Leadership roles will be that much more hard to come by. Yeah? Very, very often we have seen that people who are excellent at what they do remain individual contributors, whereas people who are great at getting things organized, who don't want the credit, who just want to participate and see how they can contribute, often end up doing much better in leadership roles. Keep in mind that it's not one versus the other. They're equally valuable, let's say, career growths as individual contributors, but we are here to talk specifically about leadership, right? So willingness to participate and step into uncertainty is how I've articulated it. I think verbalizing it also makes it important. That's the way to go. That's the first point which I would like to leave with all of you. Yeah? The second one is vulnerability versus courage. And I have a picture of Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan. For those of you who've seen this film, you know that he's basically a school teacher who's thrust into the arena of war. He's not a leader by choice, but when it comes to the crunch time, he's extremely decisive. He raises his hand to get the job done. He directs people, right? And that is the kind of leadership that is relevant now. We've all, let's say, my generation has seen a lot of prima donna leaders, right? People in sales who would be very directive of the way they did things. We used to look up to them. One of the feelings which I always got when I looked at my bosses was, I could never be like them. But those leaders are, I think, a thing of the past. Yeah, they had a huge role to play in organizations growing, but I think with this generation, leaders need to be vulnerable. Yeah, it's really the new cool. You don't need to know everything. Yeah, you need to be, just making the right calls at the right time. And courage is extremely important. Yeah? And I don't mean courage in terms of getting into a fist fight. Yeah? I mean courage of conviction. Yeah? You will see very often leaders in the group taking decisive calls on discussion, having a point of view. But when it comes to crunch time, you will see one guy raise his hand and say, I want to do it, right? That's the conviction we are looking for in leaders. And that's the conviction which is seen very, very early on in career professionals, right? They're very, very passionate about what they back. Yeah? Very often we hear our peers or our bosses say, you know what, you are saying this, I'm saying that, this is your call, but if I were you, I wouldn't do it, right? More often than not, good leaders will still go ahead and do what they thought they would do in the first place. Okay, please, this could be a career limiting move also. Don't do it very early on. But the point is, that you need to be sure, and ultimately business decisions, there is no rule book. There is no black and white. Yeah? Very often we see conviction and passion play a huge role in making something a success. So if you've analyzed the data, if you believe a thing needs to be done a particular way and you want to back it, please always do so. Yeah? You will not be penalized, at least in my view, whenever we've had tough years and we've taken tough calls. Sometimes things don't go our way, despite our best intentions. There are lots of other things happening in the market, external competition, so on and so forth. But we know that with the data available, with what we had at hand, we still tried to do the best we could, right? And that's where conviction comes in. Yeah. And moving on, and this is my favorite one. It's the Hanlon's razor. never attribute to malice what can be explained by ignorance. Actually, the word is not ignorance in the actual one. It's, I think, stupidity or something like that, but I don't think that's relevant for this audience, right? This is, for me, very, very time consuming. When we start imagining what other people are thinking or what other people are doing, and we are attributing our thoughts to them. This is a classic example of a guy who's trying to open a door, but the guy on the other side is not letting him open it, right? So you are thinking, he's possibly being malicious about it, but the other guy is just pushing instead of pulling, right? And this happens a lot in organizations, right? And my recommendation to all of you, whether in campus or in organizations, is to shut out the external sound. Yeah? Be task focused. It is not your job to think what the other person is thinking and implying, right? It's what allows for issue-based discussions in meetings, not people discussions in meetings, right? It's extremely important that you declutter your mind. Yeah? When you want to become a leader, you are not worried about the potential implications of what you have said and how it is interpreted, right? Or what somebody else has said. You are really focused on getting the task done. And you're talking data, and sometimes you're talking emotion, but even then, it's in the safe space of what you believe is right? So I would really recommend that you guys think about this even now in your second year and as you graduate. So this is really important, right? Don't try and imagine things. Always think the best of people. Yeah. Again, I have a couple of, and in this case, I'm going to play the ads after this. Yeah, let me play.
बॉस का डिलीटेड मैसेज रात के 1:30 बजे। क्या बात हो सकती है? कहीं मुझे नौकरी से तो नहीं निकाल दिया? हाँ, हो ही नहीं सकता। हो भी सकता है ऑफिस पार्टी का सीसीटीवी फुटेज तो नहीं देख लिया उसने? उसकी सेक्रेटरी के साथ नागिन डांस, उसके जोक पे सबसे कम मैं ही हंसा था। अब रो। क्यों बोला गोल्फ बुड्ढों का खेल है? इडियट। उसके बर्थडे केक पे स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक भी की थी। बॉस गई लगता है। यस सर।
यार कल गलती से वाइफ का मैसेज तुम्हें भेज दिया था, पढ़ा तो नहीं ना? नॉटी बॉय।
नो सर।
अरे कितना सोचते हो? दिमाग को दो फ्रेशनेस का भर्राटा। सेंट ऑफ फ्रेश, दिमाग पे रखो लगाम।
Thank you. Let me play one more.
रिकॉर्ड्स ठीक से चेक कीजिएगा।
सर, आपके पैसे।
थैंक यू। ये लोग मुझे ऐसे क्यों देख रहे हैं? कहीं ने ये तो नहीं लग रहा कि मैं रिश्वत ले रहा हूं? हद है यार, अब इंसान खुद के पैसे ही वापस नहीं ले सकता। ओह, वीडियो भी बन रहा है, वायरल हो गया तो? ओह नो, प्रेस भी है। हाँ, प्लेन क्लोज में पुलिस भी है, गिरफ्तारी की पूरी तैयारी है। इसके बटन इतने बड़े क्यों हैं? ओह, हिडन कैमरा।
सर, पैसे
नहीं चाहिए, रख लो।
अरे कितना सोचते हो? दिमाग को दो फ्रेशनेस का भर्राटा। सेंट ऑफ फ्रेश, दिमाग पे रखो लगाम।
Yeah, so we like that Hanlon's razor so much, we actually went and made an ad about it for one of our brands. This is about to get released. If I may take a brief segue, do you guys prefer one versus the other? The ones who prefer the WhatsApp commercial, if you raise of hands, please. Wow. ये सारे metro वाले हैं. And what about the other one, second one? We have to meet you guys tomorrow to figure out it's an even split. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I mean, these ads are yet to be released. We'll be releasing them next week. We're just fine-tuning them a little bit. Moving on to my next point on leadership. I did mention to you that, I've had the privilege of working with some of really fantastic leaders. My boss, who was our head of marketing for many years, is now our CEO. My boss, who sits out of Singapore, has been in first Singapore and now Dubai, is an inspiration in the way he manages things. So I've really learned from the best. But, and how to put this delicately, there have always been times when I have said, if it were me, this is not what I would do, right? And that's why I put the picture of Gil and sorry. Because when you listen to these guys being interviewed, very often the interviewer will ask, do you aspire to become like Kohli to Gil? And he will always say that, while Kohli is who he is, I am my own person, I want to create my own legacy. And that's really important. In many ways, you need to be unique, you need to be your own person. Now, you can always learn and imbibe, but always leave a little bit of room to question, so that you can do one better, or at least in your mind, one better, right? That's important. Also, many organizations, when they look at leaders, and we have what we call these TRP discussions, talent review discussions. But one of the things we always discuss about leadership is how much is a leader taking from his superior and how much of the leadership is coming from their own self, right? And very often we find that if you are great at what you do, but 100% of what you do is, let's say, coming from a philosophy of somebody else, you tend to lose out, right? So please always keep that spark alive of questioning, not blindly following what you learn from seniors. Last 3 points from my side. Consistent philosophy is not the same as consistent decisions, right? Very often as leaders, we are faced with situations which are same, right? But the intended outcome for us has to be different, right? Perfetti, for example, has the core philosophy of doing right in the long term or caring for our people, right? Which doesn't mean that in the case of the latter, we don't have tough conversations with employees, right? If you're not doing well, we have a tough conversation, But it is not at cross purposes with our philosophy of caring for people, right? And I think this is the distinction which great leaders make really well. They're encountered with similar situations, yet the outcome of the decision making is completely different because their philosophy is consistent, but decision making is really dependent at that point in time, right? We can also rephrase this by saying letter and spirit, right? We have, for example, a medical health policy which has a certain number of days assigned for sick leave, right? But when faced with really challenging cancer diagnosis or somebody unwell in the family, we throw that policy out, right? It's, again, decision making is not the same as same philosophy, right? And I know this is a little esoteric and possibly you guys may not grasp this fully, but keep in mind that this is something which will come to you again and again as you grow up the corporate ladder, right? And you must try and distinguish one versus the other. Don't allow people to quote precedents to you. Don't allow somebody to come and say, last time this happened, this is what you said, but how come you're saying a different thing now? But that was last time, and this is now. Things have changed, situations have changed, priorities have changed. The important thing is the philosophy consistent? And that's what you really need to cultivate. Again, I think I mentioned about this in the beginning of my lecture about the fact that we're a different kind of leader now. There were leaders in the 1990s and the 2000s, who had this attitude of leading from the front. There was this notion that you had to be in the trenches with everybody, right? I think more and more in today's day and age, people are expecting leaders to be, part of them. Actually lead in the back. It's more of a paradigm shift from what was there earlier. But let's say the standard image of a leader, standing in front of a group of troops is no longer there. This is possibly a more relevant image of leadership. We're talking of how you want to cultivate relationships in your team. Some of you will start with sales assignments. One of the things which will be told to you is, when you do your sales office assistants and so on and so forth, is we're asking you to do that stint so that when you become an area sales manager, you have empathy for the team that you lead. We do not want you to have sympathy for them. We want you to be in the same situation. We want you to travel in the bus. We want you to stay in the same hotel, so that you can feel what he's feeling. You can feel what she is feeling, right? But we don't want you to take the role and feel sympathetic, right? There's a difference. That is now, that is the new change which we are witnessing. And I would really encourage you to, think about this as you practice your group work, right? If you've done a lot of work in the group, you don't need to be the one to be presenting. It's counterintuitive, but it's true, right? When the tough time comes and the tough questions come, you will be there to handle it, right? And that will be seen. It will be seen by our professors. It will be seen in the organization. We will never miss a trick as far as our employees are concerned when we see who's putting in the hard work. And lastly, communication is the most important. And I don't just mean good communication. I mean accessibility to people, right? I know that a lot of leaders hide behind this, I'm too busy, or I'll get back to you, or I think that's a cardinal sin and really unacceptable. Communication is now a form of respect. If you want to become a leader, you need to make sure that you make the time, or you need to develop a process so that you make the time. You cannot distance yourself from what's happening. You cannot distance yourself from the people who are working with you in an organization. They need to feel connected to you. So I know it's challenging with all that you do. People are talking of work-life balance, about switching off their phones. I get that. Certainly. But then you need to get back and find a way where, if somebody is reaching out to you, whether it's on WhatsApp or LinkedIn or left you a missed call, at least you find a way of courteously replying, saying, I'll get back to you on so-and-so date. It's important. Friends and family, equally important. Colleagues, equally important. Subordinates, equally important. Well, that's it for me. And like last time, these are the 7 things which I want to leave you with. And some of the commercials, which I can't put here, but which you have seen. One book-ending thought, which we started with, and I wish to conclude, I cannot emphasize it enough. As you graduate next year, we are all rooting for you. Thank you so much. No? Am I here for the Q&A? Here. No, we have. There is a Q&A now. I'll just stand here and tackle the questions if you guys have any. Please.
Let's all take a brief moment to reflect on the valuable insights. There is a rapidly changing world. Keep your head up. Keep trust. Keep faith. Always raise your hand. It's cool to be vulnerable. Have conviction. Add value. Be task-focused. Build credibility. But similar situations don't demand same action. You can not only lead from front, you can also lead from back, and make sure you always respond. Thank you, Mr. Nikhil Sharma, for the fun-filled, colorful, yet brilliant and thought-provoking talk. We now open the floor for an interactive Q&A session. Kindly raise your hand and our team will bring you the mic. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I will take it from here.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Hi.
Am I audible?
Perfect.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for such an insightful session.
Thank you.
My question is, can you share a real-life experience where you had to take a tough decision as a leader?
Yeah, when I went to the Philippines, it was a small market. We were about $45–50 million, and the first year we were staring at huge losses. There was credit in the market which was not coming back. There were many accounts who were not buying from us. And that's the time when, that's the kind of back to the wall decision making where you really, it's really fun in one way, and then it's really challenging also because you need to make some tough calls. So one of the calls we had to make was to stop business for 3 months. We lost more money. We had to let some people go because we were not making the business was not making any bottom line. So they were not easy conversations to have. But for sustainable growth in business, these are things which happen. And the ultimate goal is obviously profitable growth for the organization that you work for. And I'm glad to say that I've been out of the Philippines now for almost 7–8 years, but that country has grown from strength to strength. It's just one example, one of many where you face challenging decisions and then you have to come out of it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello. Good evening, sir. Change is always met with a little bit of resistance.
I'm sorry, I can't see you. Where there you are.
Can you?
Come on, guys, don't make fun of her. I genuinely couldn't see her because of the light.
Yeah, okay. So I was saying change is always met with a little bit of resistance. So how do you ensure that all of your team members come on board if they totally oppose your opinion or your idea?
I mean, there is no golden rule to getting it done. Most teams actually encourage a healthy discussion. And at best you're looking for some agreement, right? You're looking to get to 70%, 80% agreement. But the sign of good teams is that once they get to that point of 80% agreement and they walk out of a meeting, they have 100% alignment, right? So people have self-doubt. Some of them may not be fully convinced. But once the decision is taken, then everybody backs it. Yeah. And then we don't revisit the discussion, and that person can't come back and tell you, I told you so. So that's important. That's how good teams always work, right? Because it is the nature of the work we do that unlikely that you will convince everybody in your team of the exact path that you are taking. Yeah, people individually think it's what I expoliated a little while back that people may or may not agree, but the decision will fall on someone. And once the decision is taken, I think the expectation is that everybody kind of joins in and put their shoulder in to get the thing done. That's possibly the best outcome. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. So I had a query. You started your journey in sales and you worked there for 3 years. My query was, after a time, sales gets repetitive and it's the same routine task you have to do. You did that for 3 years. I aspire to go into sales. What I want to know is, how do you push through it? For 3 years, you have to handle the same pressure and everything, and after a point of time, it comes a phase where you can't do it anymore. So how do you push through that?
You are speaking from experience. ऐसा हो जाता है कि 3 साल के बाद.
No, I don't have any experience. I just did an internship in sales, but I got exhausted in my internship itself.
Then you've answered your question, because then maybe sales is not for you. Okay, but I don't mean to, guys, I don't mean to trivialize the question. There's fabulous people in sales who have great sales careers, right? who've spent 15, 18 years in sales, and then they've transitioned to general management and done exceedingly well, right? What you call as pressure, those they call as thrill of the chase, right? So if you were exhausted, and I genuinely mean it, and that's what I tell most summer interns who come to PVM, that some of them at the end of the internship may say, I really like this, and some others may say, this is not for me. Either outcome is actually very good. At least you've eliminated one area where you don't need to spend 3 years and then figure out this was not for me, right? So in your particular case, if you felt exhausted, maybe you should look to do something else. Yeah. Yeah, there's a hand there.
Good afternoon. I would like to ask, which skills should I focus on learning in the next 6 to 12 months in this time left with me in completing my MBA degree?
My advice to you is to let your teachers think about that. You come to a B school exactly for that. So try and do the best in your courses. And depending on what you wish to do in life, if you want to do a little bit of extra reading, that's the only thing. Otherwise, I think B school curriculum during our time was tough. I'm sure it's tougher now. So don't take the extra load of worrying about that. If you are in a B school like TAPMI, they are grooming you for what's to come. So don't overthink it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening.
I just wanted to ask, what are your strategies for handling a conflict within a team, but as a leader?
Handling a conflict?
Within a team, like within your team.
I'm actually, now my team is really senior people, right? There are a couple of them who are older than I am and a few of them who are younger. They're actually much better at handling conflict than I can possibly advise them, right? They're some senior veterans who've done this for so many years, right? Ultimately, I think we need to convince each other of what the overall goal for the organization is, right? And then people fall in line. You can have, for example, there's the standard clique of sales and marketing not getting along, right? We have two people in those roles who are extremely strongly opinionated, right? But that's where the magic happens, when they kind of clash and the best ideas come out, right? And where ever so often they both agree, and then even I'm surprised what's happening. So, yeah, but there's no, I wish there was a strategy which I could outline for, you will learn as you go. People, like I said, are in general good and they want to progress in an organization. And over time they realize that किसी को तो decision लेना है, sometimes it will be them taking the decision, sometimes it will be me taking the decision. So eventually we move ahead. Yeah, we've not come to a point in my team or in my previous experience where it's led to a breakdown in relationship, luckily. So far. Yeah, you're welcome. Hi. Keep in mind that people are being kept from dinner, so I'm very happy to.
Sir, you already shared a few things in leadership, and we have to raise hand when we feel that we are the right person in the situation.
Yeah.
So my question is, if you can share an instance wherein you faced self-doubt in your leadership roles.
Every day. Yeah, I mean, I would be lying if I said that I don't wake up every day thinking what I've decided, whether it's right or wrong. But one of the things which you learn as a leader, and which is why I talked about courage of conviction, is that if you are second guessing yourself, then it's likely to lead to disaster for the team, right? So we do a lot of tossing and turning before a decision is taken. After the die is cast, you need to back yourself. Yeah, so yeah, very, very often we are a very innovation-led company. Yeah, we take calls on how to phase our innovations. Sometimes the market's not really doing well, but the innovation is needed. Sometimes the market's doing really well in the innovation, but we still have to launch. Those decisions we deliberate are what we always wonder about. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Very good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Sir, do you mind telling us a few habits or routines that you followed that...
Oh my God, it's incredibly boring. incredibly boring. Okay, I like to run, so therefore I usually get up at 5 in the morning and I go for a run, and I'm in office by 8 o'clock. I come back by 5, and I'm fighting with my wife to switch off the light at 8:30. She says at least 9, and I say no, 8:30 please. So it's, like I said, it's very, very regimented. I was telling Pragati this morning that I used to be reading a lot the last couple of years. I think I've got reading glasses, which I don't wear, so now I've stopped reading also. But nothing, I mean, there's not much there, honestly. It's just, we've just come to a point where this is just like a routine. Yeah. But I would encourage you not to get inspired by what I do at all in space. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Thank
Hello, sir.
Oh, hi.
Hi. How is it that you inspire your team to go beyond doing just their job?
I mean, the inspiration comes from their own self-drive. I think I'm on record to say that, you know, India's extremely challenging environment. I think the workforce here is extremely committed. Everybody's locked in. Everybody wants. So inspiration doesn't need to come from an external source. People know that if they don't go the extra mile, you know, somebody else will. And that's really it. I mean, you're hoping that by your own conduct and by the fact that you can, you know, create an environment for growth, people will take the opportunity. And I've always found that that's motivation.
Thank you.
Yeah. The mic's coming and going. Good. You can still hear, right? Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening.
I just have one question.
Just one. Okay.
So how do you lead when you're not the expert in the room on a certain topic?
Sorry?
How do you lead when you're not the expert in the room on a certain topic or a certain decision that is to be made?
You don't need to lead. I mean, you need to defer to the expert. Yeah. More often than not, you know, your professors are sitting here, they will tell you that organizations are not facing an HR problem, they're not facing a finance problem. Most problems are now organizational problems, right? So when you're in a room dealing with a challenge, and if you're listening to an expert, she is talking about a specific area, and typically you're the one, or the room are the ones who are connecting the dots, right? So you don't need to, you don't need to second guess yourself. You don't need to question the expert. But you need to take in what she's saying and then try and see what you can make of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Done?
I think we can take one last question.
Yeah, please. No, as many as you. I'm just, everybody's long day for you
great,
guys.
Great, that would be great.
Yeah, no, as much time as you need. It's just that these guys need to get to dinner and all of that. So please,
No,
I'm here.
I have one question then.
Okay, maybe.
I will ask the last question.
Hanji, bilkul.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So my question is that, what is that one thing that you have carried with yourself in these years, like that you started with, and like it has been with you all those through these years?
I'm just, I would, you know, I know it's very cliched, but it's just curiosity. I think that's generally like to talk to people and know what's happening in their lives, and you know, it's pretty mundane conversation, honestly, but it still gives me a lot of energy to generally chat and discuss what's up.
Okay.
It gives you a good sense of who you're dealing with, and then obviously you question affiliated areas and try and gather knowledge. But that's for me. I think everybody has their own.
Yes, sir.
Everybody has to find their own talisman, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So one last question. Sorry to keep you waiting.
No, it's the other way around. Sorry to keep you waiting. Yeah.
Sir, so my question is, with the increasing UPI transaction that we see and the digital payment adoption,
you know, there's going to be a meme of me answering this question. I've answered this so many times. हाँ, but फिर से एक बार.
So I understand that have adoption, but still it is a major market in the suburban and the urban areas. So how do we see the challenge coming up ahead in the candy industry?
ये जो आप major market बोल रहे हो, ये assumption है कि fact है? You said it's a major market. Where did you get that data from?
I've read it somewhere.
Again, no guys, no. I don't mean to trivialize.
So if we see the modern trade, sir, the children are still fascinated about candies. So it is still a major market because when...
In modern trade?
Yes, because when parents take their kids to retail stores like DMart and everything.
Hanji.
Or near the... just to attract kids.
Yeah. I mean, the data doesn't back you, unfortunately, because modern trade for Perfetti is 5%, out of which 1.8%, and Pragati will correct me, is e-commerce, right? So it's a very, very small fraction of our business. And we are by far the market leaders. So for us, it's 5%. For other people like Parle and ITC, even smaller, right? So most of the buying behavior for us is still the girl who walks back from her school with 10 rupees in her pocket, and she purchases candy. And this particular buying behavior is very Western. That's why UPI didn't impact us, because for us, it was still small change. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. If there's anybody else, and shall we call it a day? Huh? Shall. Yes, sir. All yours. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Thank you for the applause, and thank you for the patience. Thank you.
Thank you to all our students for those engaging questions, and special thanks to you, Mr. Nikhil Sharma, for his thoughtful and insightful responses. We have not yet come to the end of the event. We have one more segment to go. But before that, let us have a short break of 5 minutes. Please be seated. Please be seated. Yes. Welcome back. Please be seated. As we move forward, it is now time for a segment that holds special meaning for us, the Distinguished Alumni Award. We initiated this tradition in December 2024 to recognize alumni who exemplify TAPMI's core values, leadership spirit, and their professional journey. I now invite our second-year MBA student, Ms. Shreya Tatavarti, a member of Alumni Relations Committee, to brief us on the award and announce the recipient.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed faculty members, and fellow students. I, Shreya Tatavarti, on behalf of the Alumni Relations Committee, am honored to be here today to present one of ARC's most meaningful initiatives, the Distinguished Alumni Award. Launched as a celebration of excellence, this award is our way of recognizing the TAPMians who have not only excelled in their professional way, but have also embodied the values, ethos, and the vision that our institution stands for. It is a tribute to those who, through their leadership, innovation, and integrity, have made significant contribution to the industry and to the society. With over 4 decades of TAPMI alumni making waves globally, this award reflects our collective pride in their achievements. Whether it's through driving business transformation, building iconic brands, or creating impact beyond the boardroom, our alumni continue to raise the bar. And today, we are privileged to present the Distinguished Alumni Award to someone who exemplifies all of this and a lot more, Mr. Nikhil Sharma, Managing Director, Perfetti Van Melle, India. In every way, Nikhil sir is not only ideal recipient of this award, he is someone who truly elevates the very meaning of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. At this moment, we are pleased to welcome Professor Rajiv Kumra, Director of TAPMI, who has joined us to grace the felicitation ceremony. May I now invite Professor Rajiv Kumra, Director TAPMI, Professor Gururaj Kidiyu, Dean Academics, Professor Raghunath Rudran, Dean Research, Professor Duga Prasad, Dean Administration, to kindly join us on stage to felicitate Mr. Nikhil Sharma. Congratulations, Mr. Nikhil Sharma. A big round of applause. Distinguished alumnus. Your journey continues to inspire the entire TAPMI community. Thank you, sir. So as we draw this event to a close, I take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of TAPMI. At the outset, I would like to express our heartfelt thanks to our chief guest and speaker of the day, Mr. Nikhil Sharma, not only for delivering an inspiring lecture, but also for returning to his alma mater and constantly supporting us in every possible way. Thank you, sir. I also express our sincere gratitude to the leadership of Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Mahe, Dr. Ramdas M. Pai, Chancellor, Dr. Ranjan Pai, President, Dr. H.S. Balal, Post Chancellor, Lieutenant General Dr. M.D. Venkatesh, the Vice Chancellor, and the Governing Council members of Mahe for their unwavering guidance and continued support. A special thanks to Professor Madhu Viragavan, Pro Vice Chancellor, MLHS, and Mahe Bengaluru for his constant encouragement. We are also thankful to other Pro Vice Chancellors of Mahe and to Dr. P. Giridhar Kini, Registrar, for the steady support. Our sincere appreciation goes to Professor Rajiv Kumra, Director of TAPMI, for his constant guidance and leadership. I would also like to thank our deans, Professor Gururaj Kidiur, Dean Academics, Professor Durga Prasad, Dean Administration, Professor Raghunath Rudan Sir, Dean Research, for their support and presence here in this evening. Heartfelt thanks to Director's Office, Corporate Branding Team, the Estates and Logistics Team for the seamless execution of the event. Special appreciation to Corporate Engagement Team, Student Executive Council, and Alumni Relations Committee for their dedication and meticulous coordination. I would also especially like to thank our special guests from Perfetti Van Melle today, and especially to Mr. Karan and Pragati for the constant communication which actually helped us to coordinate and execute this event. Thank you so much. And finally, thank you each one of you in the audience, dear students, faculty members, staff, and invited guests for being part of this evening and carrying forward the spirit of learning and leadership. Let us take the inspiration from today's talk and continue to create impact wherever we go. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful evening.